Nerves are real, and you have to learn how to deal with those. Strength and conditioning matters. A loss is a loss if you let it be. I've been a full-time competitor for the last 5-ish years and a full-time coach. So over the last 5 years, I've competed quite a bit, usually about 7 to 10 times a year. And I've learned so much from the experience of competing a lot and just kind of figuring things out as I go. So I've been wanting to make this video for a while to help anybody that's looking at getting into competing, you're on the fence about it, or you just started competing. Just advice that I wish I knew when I first started competing. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the first one. The first thing is nerves are real. So anybody who tells you that they don't get nervous competing, you just kind of deal with it, whatever, they're lying. I've competed a ton. I know people that have competed a ton, and I still get nervous. I just don't show it like I did when I first started competing. And the big thing with nerves is you just have to be able to go out there and do your thing. If you compete enough, it just kind of becomes another day for you where you're just like, yeah, whatever. If I go out there and lose, at least I'm out here doing it, right? So nerves are real, and you have to learn how to deal with those. I have a ton of people that come in here that want to compete, and they're super nervous when they do their first tournament, which rightfully so you should. But the thing is what's always made sense to me with life and everything is I've been in the Army for 18 years. I've deployed, I've done all this like bigger stuff that actually matters. So if I go and lose a local jiu-jitsu tournament or a bigger tournament, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, nobody's gonna take my birthday away. I'm not gonna lose my jiu-jitsu school over it. I'm just gonna get up the next day and go back to training, figure out what we need to work on. So yeah, nerves are real, and you just kind of have to learn how to deal with it. And one of the best ways that's worked for me, especially with adrenaline dump, is the way I train, which we'll talk about when we get to conditioning. But the way I train has helped me a ton with that, to where like, I don't really get that adrenaline dump like I did when I first started competing. Okay, so the second thing is strength and conditioning matters for jiu-jitsu. And anybody who tells you that you can just come in, do class, do some rolls in class, and go compete at a higher level is completely lying to you. So you can probably get away with that at a local tournament where you have 1 or 2 matches, but if you wanna do like ADCC trials, those guys are doing strength and conditioning. They're not just, oh, I'm gonna do a few rounds in class and then go do the trials. No, they're doing strength and conditioning because that's what high tier athletes do. So the strength part of that, I love this argument with people that say that strength doesn't matter in jiu-jitsu, and it doesn't when you do jiu-jitsu against people who do not know jiu-jitsu. Your technique will beat their strength every time. But when you take somebody who knows jiu-jitsu and they have a little bit of strength, strength is a multiplier for your technique. Now, if you're relying completely on your strength, then you have no technique, which means that somebody who's more technical than you will definitely be able to beat you. So strength and conditioning matters. And the way I work out is I like to jack my heart rate up and then jump into lifting weights. That's my strength and conditioning. It's how I like to train. Everybody's different. Some people may like just riding a bike to get some cardio in, or just lifting weights. It's whatever you want to do. It's your strength and conditioning. But to me, that's what's made my cardio so great, and that's what's helped me get bigger and stronger when it comes to jiu-jitsu. So strength and conditioning matters. Anybody who tells you that that does not matter in jiu-jitsu has not competed at a higher level. And if you have a coach that has never competed or doesn't know anything about competing, they're not producing high-level people, then you have somebody who's completely lying to you and telling you that that stuff doesn't matter when it does. I went through that phase when I first started jiu-jitsu where it was, oh, technique beats everything. And it does, to a degree. If you're more technical than the person, you will probably beat them. But if you get 2 people that should be on the same skill level, and one person gets tired after a minute, and the other person can go 6 minutes as hard as they want to, the person that can go hard is gonna win, because the tired person is not used to pushing pace and doing technique. So let's move on to our next point. Okay, so Our third point is do not rely on the ref. So I've learned this firsthand over the last few years of competing. So I've had matches where jumping guard is illegal, and the first thing the other guy did was jump guard, and I'm just standing there holding them, and the ref's just looking at me, telling me not to slam them. And I'm like, that's illegal. Why are you not saying anything or doing anything about it? I've also had matches where I left it up to points, and the ref started giving the wrong person points, and I ended up losing by 1 point. So there's one of my matches where I passed the dude's guard 3 times, and every time I passed his guard, they gave him points. And then the match ended, and he ended up being up 1 point. And then going back and watching it, I realized that the ref was giving him my points, which, I mean, that's on me. I should have just submitted them, but we live and we learn. The other thing with that is like bad positions and people doing illegal things. So I did a tournament last year where heel hooks were illegal. And the guy I was going against wrapped my leg up, put me in a heel hook, and then I just stared at the ref like he's heel hooking me. And then I kept trying to get the ref's attention because he was trying to heel hook me. So instead of defending it, I was like, okay, cool, this dude's gonna lose. I can take the easy win. So then I started like saying, hey, he's heel hooking me, he's heel hooking me. And then they called me for a verbal tap. So then when I asked the ref about it, he was like, oh, well, it looked like he was straight ankling you, even though he's under my heel, but not the point. So I learned I should not sit there in a bad position where somebody's doing something illegal and just wait, because he ended up popping my ankle, like nothing serious, but definitely shouldn't have stayed there and let a dude crank on my heel while I waited on the ref to stop it. So do not rely on the ref, because I tell everyone all the time, just because something's illegal doesn't mean the other person won't do it. So slamming is illegal, and I've seen that happen a ton. I've seen illegal submissions happen a ton. I've seen people hit people in tournament. Like, that stuff happens. And if you just sit there and let the ref, like, oh, the ref's gonna protect me, that's their job. But there's some great refs out there and there's some terrible refs. And I've had best of both worlds. So I've had really terrible refs and I've had really good refs. So yeah, definitely don't rely on the ref to save you, especially if you're getting choked. I mean, we've all seen the videos where somebody gets choked unconscious and then the person starts armbarring them and breaks their arm. So yeah, don't rely on the ref to save you. Don't rely on the ref to do the right thing. Don't rely on the ref to get the points right. I mean, they're human. Everybody makes mistakes. So let's move on to the next point. Okay, so I gotta sit down for this one. This is one of my biggest pet peeves as a coach. So point number 4, your game plan is just a wish list. And what I mean by that is if your whole game plan is, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna hit a blast double, I'm gonna pass their guard. Once I pass their guard, I'm gonna hit an Americana and boom, I won. That's great if you do that, but that is just a wish list, because the second they throw a wrench in that plan, you have to scramble and figure something else out. So dealing with people in here that's how they game plan and get ready for tournaments is, this is exactly what I'm gonna do, is super annoying and one of my biggest pet peeves, because then that's all you're focusing on in training is that one exact sequence. And then as soon as somebody pulls guard and wraps you in guard, you get taken down, you end up in a position that you weren't working. I mean, your game plan just goes out the window. So yeah, your game plan should be, for me, and this is what I do with everyone here, is, okay, I have some techniques from each position that's my game plan. So if we end up, let's say I end up getting taken down and I wrap guard on you, cool, I have a couple sweeps that I've been working on, and that's part of my game. I have some submissions there. If you pass my guard, I have this. If I flip you over and I get on top, I have these attacks here. I can go to mount, I can do this, I can do that. So game planning to me means having something from every position, in the sense of no matter where you put me, I have been practicing something in that position. And a lot of people don't do that. They just, best case scenario is what they literally game plan. And I am a fan of worst case scenario. So example, I get taken down, okay, like I'm gonna scramble to guard, and then I'm gonna work on from guard on either submitting you or sweeping you. That's my game plan, and then I have these techniques that I've been working from those positions. So yeah, your game plan is just a wish list. And if anybody tells you that, oh, this is exactly what you should do, as soon as somebody does something that you're not used to, so you get a high level wrestler, you're not taking them down. If you get a dude that pulls guard immediately and goes into X guard, like that just went out the window. So yeah, your game plan should reflect what you do in class. So if you start in bad positions, if you train at a good school, if you start in bad positions and you work out of those, that's how you build that game plan. If you start in, let's say, closed guard, you never start from standing, you never do any kind of bad positions. Like we do a lot of, the more tired we get, the worse the position gets every round. And I think that's great because then when you're tired, you have to figure out how to get out of these bad positions. We've done a lot of rounds where we start in triangles, or we start in arm bars, or we start in the choke. Like best case scenario does not help you. So let's move on to the next point. Okay, so point number 5 and our last one. It is not a loss unless you let it be a loss. So everybody who's been training long enough or whatever has heard you either win or you lose, which true to an extent, but if you go out there and you get submitted in 30 seconds, for example, and then you're just upset, you're not like, what happened? What did I do wrong? You're not really reflecting on it, and you're just upset, and then, oh, the ref stopped it too early, whatever, then you're not learning anything from that. And what I've done with everybody here and what I do for myself, I like to record my matches and then go back and be like, oh, okay, this is how I got my back taken. This is why this armbar didn't work, whatever. But I like to, okay, this is what we did. So here's some good things that we did. So I did this, and I did this. Here's what I did wrong. So for example, I took the back, but I wasn't holding on very tight. Or let's say I like leg locks. I went for their leg and I left my foot out there and he snatched my foot up. Like, that's how you learn. And the thing is once you collect that data and you figure out, okay, like this is what I'm doing wrong, if you don't do anything with it, then it is a loss. You literally went out there, lost, and then came back and you're doing the same things you were doing. So for me, if I get hit with something in tournament, I will figure out what I did wrong and how to fix it. And I will specifically have people do that position to me, or I'll like funnel them into that position and start working to figure out what I've done wrong. And a lot of people don't do that. They just take losses as, oh, I lost, or my favorite, the ref stopped it early, the ref had it out for me, that dude cheated, like whatever. A loss is a loss if you let it be. So next time you guys compete, record your matches, watch them back, and just kind of, okay, like I posted my hand on the floor, that's how he got the Kimura. Or I wasn't tight enough on this armbar I was doing, whatever. And then that gives you stuff to work on in class. So if you lose, but you reflect on what you did wrong, and then come back to class and training to fix it, it's not a loss. You are just slowly getting better, is the idea. So those are my points. Okay, so that's 5 things that I've learned over the past 5 years of being a full-time competitor and coach, and competing a bunch and taking people to tournaments a bunch. So I make weekly videos on jiu-jitsu, fitness, gaming, like whatever I feel like doing at the time. So down below, drop your comments on your first like tournament, how you felt, any crazy stories you have, especially if you competed in like ADCC and a fight broke out in the middle of your match or whatever, because apparently that's a thing. Or if you're getting into competing, let me know how you're feeling. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys later.